A group of 15 cohorts from the academy, Usman Adeniji, said many residents had no knowledge of the law, and this impacted their rights and the need to demand good governance. Adeniji stated that the Eco Laws Simplifier app is accessible with simplified versions of the laws of the state on www.ecolaws.com.
As you can see, a number of us have spent almost of our lives in this state. So we're doing ourselves a disservice if we don't able to recognize some of the laws, that guides us. And going by the Mr. Governor's team's first agenda, one of the key themes there, which is the clause, it talks about social inclusion, and one of the things for you to be socially inclusive is for you to recognize the laws that guides you within the residence in which you reside.
Earlier, the State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Benga Omotosho, represented by the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on New Media, Jubril Gawat, noted that one of the key components of the fellowship program introduced in February 2023 to empower graduates is to come up with a project that will impact people of the state positively.
The aim of it all is to have a project that they will do that will be useful for the state and for Lagosians in general. So they call it Eco Laws, and this is like a simple app that can show you what you need to know about the laws of Lagos State.
The app will be translated into the Yoruba language for more access to the grassroots. The Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, has advised Lagosians to switch off all electrical appliances at the close of business every day, just as it says it has successfully curtailed a fire incident which occurred in the early hours of today at the Alayabiagba Market, Mobile Road, boundary Ajegunle. Permanent Secretary LASEMA, Olufemi Oke Osoitolu, said the agency received a distress call about a fire outbreak at about 2:26 a.m. and immediately activated its emergency response plan. According to him, on the arrival of the agency's team at the incident scene, it was observed that 10 shops in Alayabiagba Market was engulfed by fire. Okeosoitolu said further information gathered at the incident scene revealed that the fire started in one of the shops immediately after public power was restored, and the fire subsequently spread to other shops because most of the goods stored were curtains and clothing materials. While noting that LASEMA, Lagos State Fire Service, Lasambos, and the Nigeria Police were responders at the incident scene. Okeosoitolu stated that the agency's operatives ensured that the ravaging fire was extinguished to prevent it from spreading to other shops and adjoining buildings. Lagos State government has appealed to Muslim pilgrims to comply with the rules and regulations spread out by the Saudi authorities in respect of this year's Hajj rituals. Commissioner for Home Affairs, who is also the Amirul Hajj, Ibrahim Layodi, stated this while addressing the pilgrims on his arrival in Makkah. Layodi informed the pilgrims that the promises made by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to pay for their sacrificial rams, monetization of their Ihram clothes, as well as ziyarah, visitation to historical sites in both Makkah and Medina, have been catered for. He said the governor also gave each of the pilgrims another 100 Saudi riyals as pocket money for their stay in Mina and Arafat, in addition to the $100 shortfall in the basic travel allowance for pilgrims on the third and fourth batches who are yet to collect theirs. Laudi encouraged them to cooperate fully with the government officials, saying this will make all the plans put in place by the state government towards achieving a successful operation come to manifestation. The Nigeria Labour Congress NLC and the Trade Union Congress TUC have come under fire from the House of Representatives for misleading the public about what it called the fake earnings of its members. This was announced by the House in a statement that was signed by the House of Representatives spokesman Akan Usen. The House also denounced the national grid and airport shutdowns that occurred during the joint union's mandatory strike. It claimed that an effort was undertaken to damage the lawmakers' reputation and incite public animosity towards the legislators. It demanded that those responsible for undermining the country's economy be held accountable, citing concerns that such actions may increase public dissatisfaction with politicians and damage the Assembly's reputation. And now to the rest of the stories. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Special Needs and Equal Opportunities, Mohammed Abba Issa, has announced that the public offices not accessible to people living with disabilities will be sealed. Abba Issa said that President Bola Tinubu is expected to launch the Presidential Committee for Accessibility in the third quarter of this year. According to him, the committee has been saddled with the responsibility of implementing the country's Disability Act. Abba Issa said ministries, departments and agencies that fail to restructure to accommodate easy accessibility for people with disabilities will be sealed as part of the implementation policy of disability inclusion. He said the committee is going to checkmate all the charades against accessibility of public buildings by people with disabilities. The Chief of Air Staff Hassan Abubakar has called for collaborative efforts to eliminate criminals in Delta State and its environs. This was contained in a statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Nigerian Air Force, Edward Gapquet. Abubakar emphasized the need for effective civil-military cooperation in the state, which allows parties involved to work as peace and security stakeholders. He said there have been reports of violent crimes in Delta State, including communal clashes, kidnappings, killing of security personnel, and other incidents. Responding, Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborewori commended the Chief of Air Staff for the commitment of the NAF in fighting the scourge of insecurity bedeviling the nation, while also noting that his visit testifies to the strong bond and partnership between Delta State and the NAF. And now to foreign news. The Israeli military says it has begun a ground operation against Hamas in the Bureij refugee camp and east of the town of Deir Bala in the central Gaza Strip. According to Israel Defense Forces, troops backed by airstrikes were targeting terrorists and terrorist infrastructure above and below ground. The charity Médecins Sans Frontières said at least 70 dead people and 300 wounded. The majority of them women and children have been brought back to a hospital in Deir al-Bala since Tuesday. It comes as United States, Egyptian and Qatari mediators meet in Doha and Cairo to discuss how to finalize a new ceasefire and hostage release deal. The United States said it is still waiting for a response from Hamas to what it described as an Israeli proposal outlined by United States President Joe Biden on Friday. In our sports, former Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspur manager Antonio Conte has been appointed the new boss of Napoli on a 3-year deal. The 54-year-old has not managed since he left Spurs by mutual consent in March 2023 after 16 months in charge. Despite a disappointing time in North London, Conte has had a decorated coaching career after winning the Premier League in his first season at Chelsea 2016 to 2017 and the FA Cup in his second before being sacked in 2018. The Italian also guided a dominant Juventus to 3 Serie A titles in a row between 2011 and 2014. Napoli, who won Serie A for the first time in 33 years, have struggled to replicate that achievement and finished 10th in the league. And that's all for the news at 6. Just before we go, always slow down at road junctions, intersections, and pedestrian crossings. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms on X, Traffic Radio 961, Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961, Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. On YouTube, subscribe and watch us live on our channel, Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website on www.trafficradio961.ng. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration upgraded 2 higher institutions to universities? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government's website. To end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. All is set for the unveiling of a new app, Eco Laws, to enable residents of Lagos State have easy access to the laws of the state. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Special Needs and Equal Opportunities, Mohammed Abba Issa, has announced that public offices not accessible to people living with disabilities will be sealed. We also told you that the Israeli military has begun a ground operation against Hamas in the Bureij refugee camp and east of the town of Del Al-Bala in the central Gaza Strip. And in sports, former Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspur manager Antonio Conte has been appointed the new boss of Napoli on a 3-year deal. For contact with the newsroom, please send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. And that ends the news broadcast compiled by Kayode Mafolashiri. I am Akan Usen. Thanks for listening and please stay safe. Good evening.